Today we go over to the next section of the talk, and that is what is the final step of sadhana? How do we know that our sadhana has come to a complete circle and given us the kind of output that we are expecting? And I remember once Bhagwan was asked, see, before you come to Puttaparthi from Bangalore by road, there are certain touch points that you pass. For example, you cross Chikbalapur, then you found the Kollur crossroad, then you cross the Mamelakunta crossroad, and then you finally come to Puttaparthi. So, as long as these touch posts are being crossed by you, you know that you are on the right track. And you finally reach your destination. So, Swami said, first comes humility. Next comes acceptance. And once these two come, you know that your sadhana is on the right way. And the final stage which you cross is absolute surrender. We find ourselves totally, because we have accepted. Humility has come first, acceptance has come second, and finally we have reached a stage where we accept what is being given to us in our daily lives. And Swami said that leads to the final stage of sadhana, that is called as surrender. And so one question therefore comes, how does this surrender actually help me in my journey of life? Why is it that surrender is very, very important in the journey of life? Surrender is the final stage, I would like to emphasize, which follows acceptance first. Acceptance is very important. Without that, surrender doesn't come. So Swami illustrated this very beautifully with a car. Of course, many of us in the hall today wouldn't really appreciate this example because nobody uses geared cars anymore. And at least people who are of my age, we know that when cars we started learning, they came with gears. Gear 1 and 3 would be on the top, gear 2 and 4 would be at the bottom. So we had to manually shift the gear 1, then once the car reached a particular speed, we had to manually shift to gear 2, then once it reached a particular, like that we had to manually keep shifting the gears until the speed became okay, and then we were in the final gear. So Swami explained this beautifully, that the gear is having 4 numbers, 1 and 4 on the top, 1 and 3 on the top, 2 and 4 at the bottom. So Swami said gear 1 and 3 is the happiness in life. 2 and 4 is like sadness in life. Basically we are talking about the two opposites which every life faces. Every loss, for example, has a gain in the opposite. Every pain in life has joy in the opposite. So like that, every duality in emotion is a part of our life. So basically when Swami said sorrow is 1 and, joy is 1 and 3 and sorrow is 2 and 4, what he was emphasizing is the dualities. One set of dualities are on the top, the other set of dualities on the top or at the bottom. But the reason why he specifically said joy and sorrow is that is the biggest emotion in our lives. Everything else in our life is controlled just by these two. If we are joyful, we accept everything. If we are sad, we don't accept anything. So these two basically drive all the other emotions in our lives are controlled by these two. So that is the main thing what Swami said. Now Swami said you have to start the journey with some gear. Gear 1, the lowest gear. So you cannot straight away begin your journey with the 4th gear. The car which is depicting of our life goes for a toss if we begin with the 4th gear straight away. So now even in automatic cars, if you see, the gear begins with slower, the lower gears, and gradually it builds up, and as the speed in the life, as the speed of the car increases. So Swami said first is acceptance. You have to accept the fact that life is a journey that will transition gradually from one gear to another gear. You cannot have any option here of straight away going to 4th gear or 3rd gear or 2nd gear or whichever gear I want. It has to follow a sequence. What happens if it doesn't follow that sequence? Life becomes very, very rough. It becomes a very rough ride because we are in the wrong gear. If we are in the wrong gear, it's not good for the engine, it's not good for the travel either. And then comes the second question. So once we know that yes, life has to transition between gear 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4. Up, down, again up, down. It goes on like that. So that means consistent transitions from joy to sorrow is a part of life. You cannot avoid it. But if we believe that we are traveling on a road, we will also know that one gear is not going to be constant. It is going to change as the time comes. Because if we travel at the same gear, once again, the journey becomes very rough. So what is it, that's the second part now. What is it that helps us transition between these gears? There is something called as a clutch. So when we press the clutch, the transitioning from one gear to another gear becomes very smooth. If we try to transition between these two gears without pressing the clutch, there is a damage which occurs. So Swami said this clutch is like the surrender. Once we accept and we surrender, transitioning between life's joy and sorrow becomes a very smooth exercise. So surrender plays a very, very critical role in our life because it brings a sense of equanimity to us. Number one, we accept that transitioning of gears in life is mandatory. It is a part and parcel of the life. And second part is we know that what helps this transition become smooth is the concept called as surrender. So we achieve a state of what we call as Sita Prajna, equimindedness. So all these transitions do take place, you cannot avoid it, but acceptance and surrender makes it a very pleasurable exercise as a part of life. So when we accept these obstacles in any situation in life as God's gift and our welfare, I told that surrender is the next stage to acceptance. We discover that God's grace starts working wonders in the background even without our asking. Even without our asking, they start working wonders because it is something like we have opened a channel for God's grace to start lowering itself into us. I'm always fond of the exercise. So in fact, one time when devotee asked Swami, but Swami, until we ask, is it that God's love and grace will not shower on you? And Swami said, no, you have understood it wrong. God's grace and love is like the rain that is always there. But if whether you are able to see it or not, receive it or not, depends upon the size of the vessel that you are using. So we can put the vessel inverted, we will not get anything. If we put the wrong size vessel, we will get what the vessel size is. Accordingly, that much of love and grace only we will receive. So Swami said it's depending upon your action, you can receive or not receive God's grace at all. God's grace is like the rain. It's always there. So Swami said God's grace is also, you should not say that only if I pray, it's something like putting like reverse. Only if I invert a pot will it start raining. It's the other way around. So Swami said, if you remember this, you will understand how God's grace is always around us, enveloping us, wherever we are, whatever we do. Whether we receive it or not depends upon whether we have opened the channel or not. Surrender is the channel which God expects. Acceptance is the channel which God expects. To open the channel so that the grace can start flowing into us. So once we do that, the grace starts flowing and it starts working wonders from behind, even without our asking. Sometimes we may not even be aware of it. I still remember when we were doing our PhD. Incidentally, for my PhD, I developed India's first mini-orange electron transporter. Still the only one in the country and possibly the only one in Asia that still works. It is still there. But it was such a complicated instrument. Of course, I had a fantastic supervisor, Professor Venkataramanaya, whom Swami selected to guide me on that. And he had worked on it in Germany when he was an Alexander Humboldt Fellow. So he wanted to tell me, when Swami told me go and do PhD, Professor Venkataramanaya gave me two options. He said, Sainath, there are two options for you. First is you do a regular spectroscopy offline experiment wherein we get the data, we analyze it and we publish the findings. But the second one calls for very hard work. Can you build a mini-orange electron transporter? No one has done it in the country and no one has done it in Asia. Are you ready to do it? I said, sir, can I have the literature so that I will make a decision? I saw the literature, it's a pretty complicated piece of equipment. And I said, sir, where can we get the engineering marvel to do this? We don't have that facility. Bangalore, we have to hunt for whoever can do. He said, yes, it is hard work. Then I thought for some time. I remembered Swami's statement when he told me to go and do PhD. Manchi PhD chesi, manchi peru sampayinchu. Do a very good thesis and earn a very good name. So my choice was already made. Swami had already given the guideline. I said, sir, mini-orange. I'm going to do that. So when we set out, we went to Bangalore, we asked for 2-3 engineers, they mucked up royally. One of them gave me something that looked like a brass pot. And I asked him, what is this? He said, he said, sir, this is what you gave design. I said, is it non-magnetic? Did you use non-magnetic materials? No answer. So I said, I spent 1 hour with you explaining that I wanted it out of non-magnetic material, and this is what you give me. So 2 engineers we tried, both of them failed miserably, and I was wondering what to do. Then Professor G. Venkatraman came for the first time to Swami at that time. And he heard my plight. He himself worked in IGCR Kalpakam is one of India's top atomic and nuclear physics facility, and he had worked there in a very senior capacity. Professor G. Venkatraman, he is still there. And so he told me, why are you suffering so much? You know, I will send you to Kalpakam. My colleagues are still there, people whom I trained. They will help you to design one in a jiffy. So I told, this sounds like a good idea. Because now this Kalpakam is a facility where nuclear physics and atomic physics is eaten, spoken, slept, everything. They eat and breathe nuclear physics and atomic physics. So they will easily understand what I want. So there were a series of tests that had to be done because I had a set of magnets which had to be mapped for their material magnetic strength in 4 pi dimensions. Okay, I think you will start getting confused. So leave it. So what happened was all this testing had to be done, mapping had to be done, diagrams had to be given, then the design of the spectrometer had to be done in such a way that the magnets fitted perfectly in the configuration that I wanted, in the magnetic field configuration that I wanted. So it's very complicated it was. So I went to Kalpakam and I wanted to go to Kalpakam and I didn't know what to do. So I asked Swami, Swami said, Vedlestra, go and come. So I went, I gave the design and they said we will take a few days to manufacture it. You come back after a few days. So after about a month or so, they told me this is ready. Then testing had to be done whether it's matching what I wanted or not. So December month, I approached Mr. Chakravarti and said, sir, they said it's ready. I have to go to Kalpakam. So he said, Mr. Chakravarti said, I'll ask Swami. He went to Swami, Swami told wait. And you know, my professors were getting agitated. How long are you going to wait? He's not telling anything. Again, I asked, Swami said, wait. Sports meet started, I asked, Swami said, wait. After sports meet, during sports meet time, I asked Mr. Chakravarti, sir, I'm getting a little concerned now because I'm not able to take the constant, backdraft from my professors. They are getting more worried than me. So you please help me. Then he said, okay, Sainath, I'll ask Swami today. And Swami told, see, immediately after sports meet is over, I'm taking the MBA boys to Chennai for an industrial tour. Ask Sainath to come with me. Okay, matter solved. And then we went to Sundaram. We were there. We were having breakfast. And then Swami, after breakfast was over, MBA boys were due to go to their classes. Swami called and said, how far is Kalpakam from here? I said, Swami, it's about 2.5 hours of drive by bus. And this Swami said, do one thing, go complete your work in 3 days and come back. We will all go back to Patti together. This would not get done in 3 days. It would take minimum of 7 days. The testing was also equally as complicated as designing it. So simulation and all that had to be done to find out. I said, Swami, it will not get done in 3 days. Swami said, you go do your work, I will do mine. So, okay, I said, and I went, and to my astonishment, when I told the scientists there who were helping me, it happened that both of them were amazing devotees of Swami. So we actually, while the simulations and all were going on in the computer, we spent very good time in Satsang, in Kalpakam. Kalpakam had plenty of devotees of Swami, by the way. So these, when I told Dr. Amarendra and Dr. Panigrahi, both of them retired in very senior positions in IGCR. I met them and they said, Swami has said that, right? Come on, you will, 24/7 we'll sit and we'll see whether it will be done or not. And for my sake, just to respect what Swami had said, those people sat very, very late into the night. As civilian, I was not allowed there. But they sat very late into the night to continue the simulations what we had started in the morning when I was there. And exactly at the end of 2.5 days, the work was done. I still had half a day left with me. Now, this entire piece weighed 125 kgs. No, the problems didn't end. First step was crossed, that's all. This entire piece of equipment weighed 125 kgs plus. So they had put it in a wooden crate and they had packed it tightly, and all the requisition passes and permissions were granted. Now comes a question. You need a Superman to lift 125 kgs all the way from Kalpakam and go to Sundaram where Swami is there. I am not a Superman. Then I was wondering what to do. Then Dr. Amarendra inquired around and he found out that every afternoon at 2 o'clock, a van goes to the city at 2:30 because post-lunch one shift gets over, so it takes a few of those people and drops them in the city. So he said, I have talked to them, you can go into that van, I will help you load this. So 2-3 of them and along with me, we lifted that piece of equipment, put it into the van and we set out to Chennai. Now the driver was a very hefty Bhima, 6 foot 1 inch, very hefty, and he drove like one. Because we never thought of God so dearly in our lives, as when he was driving. He was zipping, zooming, literally flying, In fact, if somebody would have asked him, why are you driving so fast? We would have said he is flying too low, not driving too fast. He was just zooming, and we were holding on for dear lives, and somehow we managed to reach some part of the city. I don't know where it was. I was just happy that we had stopped. And, there was no Uber, there was no Ola, there were no mobile phones, nothing. And I was total stranger to Chennai. So he stopped somewhere and everybody started getting down. So I was sitting inside. Then he looked at me, why are you still seated? Aren't you getting off? I said, no, but this is not where I get off. He said, and this is not a city bus. This is going to stop here only. You get off and do what you want. I have other works to do. I said, see, but I have to go to, I don't know Chennai and I have to carry this 125 piece of equipment. At least leave me in a place, where I know where I am. I will use a public phone and call people, to help me. He said, that's not my job, that's your job. Just get off. So I didn't know what to do. I said, Swami, you brought me till here. Now what is this step you are taken now? I'm here, near yet so far. I managed to reach Chennai, I managed to get the equipment, and now you have suddenly put me in this situation. There's a very stubborn fellow here who's not even listening to me. And then after some time he saw that I was in no mood to get off, so he turned around in a very exasperated manner. Where is it you want to go, he said. I said, Sundaram. He suddenly turned around fully like that. That ominous way he turned scared me to death. And he said, where? I said, Sundaram. He said, Sai Baba. I said, yes. Why didn't you tell me? I have to go there only for attending the bhajans. I have come here for his darshan. Now, what are the odds? Please calculate and check for yourself that out of the millions of vehicles and billions of drivers, only this vehicle with this driver was allotted to me. He promptly told me, I'm sorry for whatever I said, I take back everything. And of course, after that, he started off a stream of Tamil, one word of which I couldn't understand. I was just happy, that my problem is solved. So he zoomed again through Chennai this time. Once again, I hung on for dear life. And then he dropped me with a screech in front of Sundaram, where some Sevadal were waiting for me. They said, yes, sir, Professor U.S. Rao was accompanying the MBA students. He said, Professor Rao told us that you are coming, sir, please come. Swamis and students have already gone to Abbotsbury. There is a program there. And, you please freshen up and we will take you to Abbotsbury. So they got the crate in, put it in. I've quickly freshened up, went to Abbotsbury. Night we had finished and we are having dinner. So Swami was going around what students were eating and he saw me. And he said, when did you come? I said, Swami, I came in the evening. And he leaned forward and only 3-4 of us could have, how were my arrangements, he asked. Now, the last trace of doubt, of who played this entire drama out vanished in a trice. Now, how were my arrangements? And the wicked smile on his lip, but it didn't come easy. Look at the number of heart attacks I almost had in the between. But at the end of it, again, after the sine wave is up and down, but the mean t is equal to 0 signal is always straight. That is always there. He is always there guiding. So, basically, when I told Swami everything you will take care and I left, he took care of everything. Only thing is the way he did it caused some hiccups in between. That's another matter altogether. Yeah, that drama is unavoidable. But, that's what makes it very sweet. When we narrate this incident, for example, I'm still playing it out in front of my eyes. It gives you so much of joy, that he really had to play with us so much to get us to realize a very simple truth. That another time when surrender, Trikarana Suddhi is something Swami lays enormous emphasis on. We say we surrender to thee, we surrender to you and all those things. Do we really surrender when the matter comes to push comes to shove? When the test comes, we don't know. I remember in the veranda one day, it was Sunday, so primary school kids also were sitting there. And Swami was going around asking everyone, what is it you want? What is it you want? Will you give me what I want? First he asked one student, will you give me what I want? What will you give me? This boy said, Swami, I'll give you anything you ask. Swami said, Manchidi. Then he went to the next person. What will you give me? Swami, whatever you ask for is yours. You only have given me everything, so I'll give you whatever you ask for. Manchidi. Third person he asked, what will you give me? He said, Swami, tan, man, dhan, everything is yours, Swami. Whatever you want, you take. It is yours. I have no right on this. Manchidi. Then Swami shifted and went over the primary school side. One small boy. Swami called him and he said, boy, what will you give Swami? This boy said, Swami, nothing. And we all laughed. We said, Arey, chotu hai, he doesn't understand the question. Swami again asked, you'll give Swami nothing? He said, no, nothing. He was very clear. Then Swami said, why? Swami said, Swami, what is mine to give you? It was a small boy talking here. What is mine here to give you, Swami? There is nothing called mine here. How do I even have a right to exercise and tell, I will give you this, I will give you that. Nothing is mine, Swami. When everything is yours, who am I to give you anything? Swami looked at it and said, Nechkondra, he said. Learn from him. Tan, man, dhan, all they make very good sound bites. But the question, this was not the right answer. So that's why when we said that if we believe in the concept of surrender totally, it has to come out when matters reach a head. When the response expected, the right response, is it coming or not? It's a check and balance test for us, basically, whether the response is coming right or not. I got a very beautiful personal experience on this. In Parthi, whenever Swami students who work there, we get our first salary, we give it to Swami. Invariably, Swami returns it. I never used to understand why. Because in our tradition in Hindu, the first salary is always given to the parents. So we all thought Swami was a parent, so we used to give him back. When my first salary came in July 1995, and I deposited the check silently into the bank because I know that if I give it to Swami, he will throw it back. He'll not take it. But it was for me a sentiment. First salary should be given to he who I consider my everything, like all other boys. So I put it in the bank. Afternoon when I came back, Swami was waiting for me. He was waiting for me, and he had an envelope in his hand. So Swami, he called me the moment, he said, Em chesavi podduna, he said. He said, what did you do this morning? So I just kept quiet. He knew, obviously. Then he said, has your ego risen so much that you think you can give me your money? I didn't know why this direction. He was very serious when he said that. Has your ego risen so much that you thought that you can give Swami something? And then he put the envelope back. I don't want it, take it. And he put it in my hand. So I was very sad. I said, Swami, but you are my mother and father and everything. My first salary, that's why I chose to give it to you. It was out of a good feeling. Why are you returning it? And Swami said, if you believe that Swami is your everything, then why are you using the word my salary I am giving to Swami? Just look at the sharpness you have to maintain when you are in his presence. Why are you still talking my salary I am giving to Swami? Why are you seeing yourself as different from me? I never want to see those kind of differences. See, whatever is mine is yours, whatever is yours is mine. You and I don't exist separately. I mean, this is telling me, but basically he was meaning to everybody. So, but you and I are one. Why don't you ever see like that? That is the feeling I want you all to generate. But all the time you say, my, me, I am giving, he is taking, that kind of thing. That is why I am returning it. And that is why I do not take anything when the boys give it also, he said. So that was a very valuable lesson I learned about what this salary is. The question of my giving, you taking, it never comes if surrender is really absolute. So therefore, there are very valuable lessons that I learned on that aspect, and after that I tried to tell that to several of my younger brothers who wanted to read. Some of them saw the meaning in that, but the sentiment is very strong. That we should give it to Swami. So I heard later that when one of the brothers actually narrated this incident, Swami, we know you told this to Sainath sir, but Swami, this is a sentiment for us what to do. And Swami said, take your first salary and do something useful so that 10 others will prosper out of it. That's the greatest service you can do out of your first salary with Swami. And that's such a noble thought it is. And by saying, see, when we take our first salary and give it in some task so that 10 others prosper, it's like telling, Swami, it is our thing we are giving so that people can prosper. More people can be happy. It's such a noble thought. Instead of telling, my first salary, I am giving you. Who are we to give him? And what does our first salary matter to him? When he himself had given it in the first place. So it is almost like insulting. I gave you and you're giving it back to me. That means you're rejecting what I'm giving you. So many such thoughts started coming to me until I realized what a big folly it was to give anything to him in the first place, to offer anything to him in the first place. So when we surrender to Bhagwan, he is always there protecting and guiding us. Like I said, because we have opened the channel through which his grace and love can flow to us all the time and it can protect us. I still remember one of the brothers narrated this incident when his father went and told Swami, I want to go on a pilgrimage, to some South Indian sites. Please bless me. Swami said, go. What will you do when you go there? He said, Swami, whenever I go, I'll see your darshan only. Then Swami jokingly said, why are you bothering to go stay here only? Then he said, no, it's important for you to also visit all these places. You go. Tirupati, Annamalai and Tiruvannamalai and all these places. He said, go, see, have a nice darshan, see Swami everywhere and come back. He went. Now, in those days, the trains used to stop for a very short duration and they were very uneven. And especially in these pilgrimage centers, the trains would invariably arrive very late in the night. So there was one such place when suddenly, I still remember when we used to come down to South India from North India, Dad used to be wide awake near the door, with entire luggage like this ready. The moment the train started slowing down, dhan, 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 he would throw everything out, then he would throw all of us out and he would himself jump out. Because, it's 1 minute, you have to throw everything out. So, and my mother used to get terrified, say, why are you throwing things out like this, people can take it away and run away, or what will happen to us? He said, no, there's no time when the trains will start. So, but every father had that problem. So this brother's father also, this was the same problem. So he was waiting, the train stopped. Station has come, and he threw everybody out, including the luggage. And when he got down, he discovered that he was in the middle of nowhere. No station, nothing. And that's because the train had stopped because the signal was yellow. Not because the station had come. And by the time he said he was in the middle of nowhere, pitch dark, his wife was there, his children were around him, and there was begging luggage over there. So they were now scratching their head what to do. Now wild animals can come, anything can come. Then it's just a little bit away, he started seeing some light was approaching him, a lantern, and somebody was beating the tracks and coming. It was a railway gangman. Now railway gangmen, they have this duty, they are given a spear or some weapon, and they are given a light, and they are given a, hammer, like huge hammer, which they keep hitting the tracks and going all along from this station to that station to ensure that the track is fine. So this person was coming, and this person is a burly 6-footer. Now railways used to employ lots of these wrestlers. Railway wrestling team was very strong, by the way. Many of these Asiad game winners and all, the wrestlers and boxers, they come from the railways team. So this fellow apparently was belonging to that category because muscular, 6-foot, hefty Pelwan. So, he came and he suddenly looked at these people and stopped in shock. Imagine finding an entire family with their luggage in the middle of nowhere. Then he looked around, where did these people appear from was a mystery for him. Then he asked, what is this? What are you doing here? He said, this is what has happened, now what to do? He said, kya saab, ab aise karte hain, he said, and he hefted the luggage and everything on himself, and he said, you come with your family. So they walked for about a few kilometers, then they reached some station, and there he told the station master, this is the story. The station master told, one more train comes in another 2 hours, you board that and you go, you are at least another 1.5 hours away from your destination. So it happened, everything was done. And everything was over, and he went back to Puttaparthi. There, Swami called them inside for an interview, and this brother was narrating this experience. And Swami asked, where all did you go? Everything is fine, and all those things. Then Swami said, why are you always in such a tearing hurry? then it takes some time, to really find out what Swami is trying to tell. Swami, what happened? He said, see, didn't you had your entire family with you, your luggage with you. Didn't you even see where you are throwing everyone? My shoulders are still paining carrying that heavy luggage which you threw out. It was such a shock for him, that because Swami had told him, wherever you go, you have Swami's darshan and come back. That's exactly what happened. He saw Swami's darshan in the most unexpected of places, not in a temple, but when he direly needed help. In a temple, the idol is always there to give us satisfaction. But when he desperately needed somebody to come and help him, that is when God really appeared. So it's a massive lesson which we learned on that day, and which this brother was narrating. In fact, he narrated 2-3 times to me, and I'm never tired of listening, especially when he narrates it. He had that wonderful jovial way of narrating, that was really very pleasing to the ears, because it always makes me feel, wow, Swami, what all things you do, to protect your devotees. And after listening to all this, in fact, I added this last section in my talk, primarily because after giving this talk once in one of the Sai centers in India, a side question was asked, see, there's so many procedures, processes and techniques and technologies you introduced in your talk. Is this really possible for people like us to reach the stage of surrender through all these procedures? Is sadhana really my forte? Can I really do these things, so that I can reach Swami? I added this section because of a wonderful experience I had that told me something which is true for all of us. I'll tell that at the end. So in somewhere in the 1996, those of you who had been to Parthi in 1996 would know, there was suddenly a series of talks which Swami gave every day. And I think it went on for close to a month or month and a half almost. The series of talks that just began out of the blue. Swami said, I want to talk to the students because I think I should share some truths to Swami. In fact, the talks given by Swami, of course, appeared in the Radio Sai archives. And the talks were also preceded by some erudite speakers, elders, and sometimes non-erudite speakers like students as speaking also. So, but how it started was a whammy, literally. So I told you every day I used to come from the college, and I used to come, and Swami was used to be seated there, and 15-20 minutes he would speak to me, and then he would go out for darshan. So that day when I came in, 3 o'clock, Swami was pacing up and down the Purnachandra auditorium, as if lost in very deep thought. So I came inside silently, Swami looked at me and continued pacing. So I looked at Shauri and I said, what is happening? He said, I don't know. And after some time, Swami stopped talking and he said, from today onwards, I thought I should talk every day to the students and give them a discourse because I think they should start learning a few things. But I'm looking for somebody to speak before Swami's discourse. Please listen carefully. If you're not careful, you have every danger of falling for this, which is what happened to me incidentally. So, he said, but I'm not able to find anybody to speak before Swami's discourse. I asked G. Venkatraman, he says he has fever. I asked Subbarao, he says his throat is not good. And I was looking for Narendranath Reddy, he is not there, it seems he left yesterday. So what to do? He said, by this time he had 1 foot out of Purnachandra already, and the door was open. People knew that Swami is coming. Just before he stepped out, he looked at me and he said, you do one thing, you come and speak. And he went out. You can't even catch him now. Because he's already out, and I was panicking, I was jumping up and down, I didn't know what to do. Should I keep my book? Should I get ready? Should I prepare for a talk? Should I take out my diary? I was running around like a headless chicken. I was running up and down, not knowing what to do. And Shauri was getting alarmed, Mr. Shauri. He said, calm down, please calm down. I said, what is there to calm down? I'm totally confused on what to do. He said, first you freshen up and you go. Swami will do whatever he has to do. So, and by the time I went, Vedam started. Swami didn't go for darshan, he went, when he wants to rub it in, he rubs it in real hard. He didn't go for darshan, that means I didn't even have time of 5 minutes. He went straight and sat on his throne. Vedam started, Sandeepan started announcing. Dr. Sandeepan Chatterjee used to do the MC's work. Swami called him and Swami told, announce that I want to give talks. So, Mr. Sandeep, Vedam started, and at that time I somehow managed to free and I took off like Usain Bolt. Because Sandeepan had started talking, Ladies side I can't go, so I have to cross the lawns in front of Purnchandra Auditorium, go to the old stores building, take the route to South Prasanthi, turn all the way around and enter the students' entry in the East Prasanthi side. So I took off like Usain Bolt. Full speed I dashed out, went running, and just as I entered the mandir, Mr. Saha, who was in charge of the gent side students control, Sevadal, devotees control, he said, what happened? Why are you running like this? I said, I was gasping. I said, I was pointing at Sandipan stage. So by the time Sandipan was announcing my name, he said, have you seen behind you once? I said, no. He said, look back. There were 7 Sevadals chasing me. The speed with which I was running, they thought I was some mischief monger, so but I beat all of them. They were gasping, and I came, and then Shauri Saha said, you go first. And there, Sandeep was announcing like this. I came from the side. He saw me from the corner of the eyes coming and sitting down like that. He heaved a sigh of relief because there another drama had been played. Swami called Dr. Sandeepan and announced that I would like to talk to students from today. I'm giving a discourse. But before that, one speaker will speak. So Dr. Sandeepan wanted to know from Swami, whose name shall I tell? One more trouble. If Sainath comes, you announce his name. If Sainath comes, you announce his name. Now, and this person is already on the stage, he has to tell something. So that is why that massive sigh of relief, when he saw me sneaking in from the side and sitting in the first row. Swami was peacefully seated like this, totally oblivious of what is happening after engineering the whole thing. And then, when he announced my name, I went and I wanted to take namaskar. From the corner of his eye, he looked at me, that wicked smile on his lips, He hid it like this and he looked the other side. Oh, he was so thrilled with himself. He was so thrilled with himself. Then I spoke something, and this was a speech which I had zero time even to think through. No thinking through, it's all panic all together. So, then I spoke something and I went, and after the talk was over, a few elders came with Swami. And again, when he went through, Swami gave a mischievous smile. He went and he sat. And obviously, the discussion was about Swami's discourse and all, my talk and all that. Then after some time, Swami signaled to me. He said, Anta baga maatladledu ivala veelu cheptunnaru, they said. That means it seems you didn't speak very well, these people are telling. And those people started smiling. So I knew that it was... So I just looked at Swami. He's the one who played the mischief. How does he expect a good performance when you hardly give a time? The only thing that person is concerned about is panic over there. Then I just looked at Swami and I kept quiet. Uttane annanu. They are very happy with your talk. Even Swami is very happy with your talk. I fell at Swami's feet. I said, but Swami, it was such a tension, Swami. Everybody was tensed up. Sandeepan was tense. I was even more tense. And Shauri had also come by that. He said, हाँ Swami, ये इतना दौड़ रहा था ऊपर नीचे, मैं सोचा कि इसको heart attack आएगा. Then Swami looked at me, why were you so tensed? I said, what? What a question to ask. I said, then I stared at Swami, what do you mean, Swami, why are you so tense? I just looked at Swami. Then Swami said, tell me, why were you so tensed? I said, Swami, I was not prepared. I didn't even digest what you told me. And I didn't even know whether I'll be able to do justice, because this is the perfect opportunity to make a fool of myself in public. And I didn't know why you threw me there in the first place. I was so tensed up. Then Swami gave such a wonderful statement. That is a mistake you made. Akkade tappu chesavu. I said, why? He said, if you truly believe that Swami will never ever give you a task for which he thinks you are not capable of, why would you be tensed? Do you think I would have ever sent you to do something for which I think you were not ready? I had that confidence in you. Why didn't you have the confidence in Swami? That Swami will do it. And because you had no time to prepare, you spoke what is in your heart. That is what attracted people. That day I learned such a valuable lesson. Every time I get an opportunity to do something, I wonder, am I capable of this? Is it my ability to do this or not? I remember this incident. Why will I ever give you a task for which I think you are not capable of? You didn't have that faith in Swami, but I had that confidence in you. So every time when we set out to do our sadhana, I would just like to say, let us remember that this would not have been done, the thought itself would not have come to us. The thought itself would not have come to us if Swami thought that we are not ready for it. If Swami thought that we are not capable of it. The very thought that we get the inclination, I need to be closer to Swami. I need to do a sadhana so that I can get closer to Swami. These are all classic indicators that Swami is egging us on. He thinks we are ready. Otherwise, such thoughts also wouldn't come in our mind. How much we trust Swami and how much we believe in our ability, that is our sadhana. That he will not interfere with. So that is the thing I wanted to speak to about today. And I'll stop here because this entire talk was about what it means to be Swami's devotee. When we want to ignite, we first have to be ignited ourselves. And this entire thing what is related only to that. I hope there was some justice done to the topic and there are some takeaways for everyone from this talk. And I would like to sincerely thank, first of all, I would like to express my gratitude to Bhagwan for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Thank the organizers for thinking of me, capable of coming and giving this talk over here. And thank you all for being so patient with me and giving me a hear. If there is time, I think we'll take a few Q&A. Are there questions? Okay.
Sarah, yeah. I don't know if we'll be able to go through every question, but we'll try to go through as many as we can in the next probably 25 minutes, 20 to 25 minutes. Did Swami ever give you the courage to do something you didn't think of you could do?
The incident last I narrated, I think that answers that question.
I think so, you have already answered, so let's move on to the next one. Do you have a funny experience with Swami?
Swami is nothing but fun. Every experience with him, and that too with boys, you know, he had the most mischievous side of it exposed. I mean, I can narrate several, but give me a hint. What do you think we should? Chandelier? Okay.
Yeah, that was a really funny one.
You heard it already, then no point.
No, only me.
Okay, there was a chandelier incident. I don't know how many of you saw it on YouTube of mine. Okay, you did. You know when the super specialty, we have time?
Yes.
Okay. During the super specialty hospital when it was being constructed, you know, Italian devotees, you know, they took upon a sadhana to send chandeliers to Bhagwan. So whenever you go to the Parthi super specialty hospital, you see that lovely chandeliers hanging around. Let us understand that many of them were lovingly sent by the devotees from Italy. And Bhagwan himself used to see those chandeliers and identify where they have to be placed. Including the one in the central dome, which of course had lots of hard work before it was placed in that place. Now, why the chandeliers would come, Dilip and I used to take those chandeliers in and we would assemble them and light it up and show Swami. Then Swami would see and tell, okay, this chandelier goes here, that chandelier goes there and all that. So sometimes the chandeliers were very big. So what we had was, you know this Red Indians wigwams, right? So they have two bamboo poles crossed here, another two bamboo poles crossed here, one bamboo pole in between them. So that was the base structure on which they would build their wigwams. So we also had that same procedure. We had two bamboo poles here, two bamboo poles here, and one bamboo pole in the center. And the central stem of the chandelier, we would hang it in the center from this bamboo pole, the horizontal one, not the crossed ones. And then around that central stem, we would start assembling the entire chandelier. So it was required because chandeliers are pretty heavy. And then we would take the wire and switch it on and Swami would come and see, okay, this goes here, that goes there, this is not good, don't use it, like that it would come. So one day when it was happening, that's a standard procedure. And one day it so happened that a very small chandelier arrived. But it was already close to 7 o'clock. That is the time when Swami retires to his rooms. So Dilip and me immediately discussed, if you start assembling this, Swami will get delayed. I think we'll just take it backstage. Tomorrow morning when Swami comes, early morning we will assemble this. It doesn't look to be a very big chandelier anyway. So both of us said, yeah, brilliant idea. And we whisked it away to behind, but Swami sharp eye caught it. What is that, he said. So we didn't want to tell. Because the moment you sell chandelier, Swami will tell, assemble it. So we just want to tell. And Swami looked at it. But that was the beauty with Swami, he knew us inside out. Inside out he knew. Then he smiled and said, chandelier achinda. A chandelier came. We said, yes, Swami. You thought it's getting late for Swami, that's why you put it back. We said, yes, Swami. It's a small one, you assemble it, I'll come and see it, then I'll go. It's okay. So then we went, then we thought, okay, then I got a brilliant brainwave. I said, see, it's a small chandelier, Dilip. Why again waste time in putting the bamboo poles, tying it and putting it, it'll go another 15 minutes. The central stem I will hold in my hand, you assemble it. It'll be done very fast. He said, wow, fantastic idea. So I held the stem and he started assembling it. So as he was doing that work, Swami came. And Swami came and he looked at us and said, Ainda, is it over? And I told Swami, it will take another 10 minutes, we'll finish it. And Swami said, okay, and he was about to go back, then he turned back and he said, a bamboo, karraki tagilinchi cheste better emo, he said. Manchidemo, he said. That means, don't you think it's better to tie it to that pole and assemble it? I said, no, Swami, it's a very small one. This will get done much faster this way. So it is fine. And Swami said, okay. And he went off inside. So he knew what is going to happen. So then after 5 minutes he came and then he asked, Ainda. I said, Swami, another 5 minutes it will be done. Again he cautioned me. Don't you think it is better to tie it to that pole and do it? Now this is the power of Maya. Divinity itself is standing there and telling me not once, twice. I still didn't get the point. I said, no, Swami, this is a very small chandelier. I can hold it and build it in my hand. Sare ni ishtam, this time, more ominous now. Okay, your wish. Now, but the escalation in ominous index is going up now. Then third time he came. And this time, I was ready. And everything was done. And Swami said, Ain Swami. Swami said, put on the switch. So the switch was put on, the chandelier lit up, and but nobody was watching the chandelier because I was dancing like this with it. I was getting electrocuted. Somewhere a wire has come in that stem and it was not earthed properly. I was getting electrocuted. Dilip is looking at me like this. What is wrong with this fellow? He was fine till now. Chiranjeev was, hey, Yemati Swami Durkunda. Chiranjeev is saying, what is this you are doing in front of Swami? Swami's reaction was the most astounding. He was holding his side and wiping tears from his eyes and laughing. Laughing. He was pointing at me and laughing while I was dancing like this. And in between those bouts of laughter, he managed to blurt out, switch you. Dilip understood what is happening. He ran and he switched off the mains. I gave the chandelier to Dilip and I collapsed. I managed to save the chandelier, by the way. And Swami came, stood over me, still laughing without apparently an iota of pity. He was having a field day. He just looked at me and he said, next time when I tell you something, if you listen to me, it is for your good only. Look at the choice of words. Next time if I tell you something, that means he is sure I'm going to do this blunder once again. So it's guaranteed. If I tell you something, that means I will tell you, but it's up to you whether you listen to or not. If you listen, it is good for you. There's every chance I won't listen, that means again. So it's such a hilarious incident, but see, he managed to save me, that is there. But look at how the lesson was driven home. And that also he made it sure to tell me that I am going to have similar incidents like this. I am going to be told by him and I am going to ignore that warning once again. So it was, I hope this was hilarious enough. It came with a very important lesson, but yeah, I still classify it as a very hilarious lesson. I call it the illuminating experience because of the chandelier.
It was definitely. See, listening on YouTube and this is not the same. So this
okay.
is... Could you please give us some guidance on how not to take Swami for granted?
It's just that one single word, what I said is Maya. See, it's unlikely that you all will ever suffer such a issue because you have seen Swami in a totally different light and some of you would not have possibly physically seen Swami at all. So your attachment and connection with Swami is always, I think, built on a much firmer footing, where it is unlikely to be shaken so easily. That was not so with us, who were physically close to Bhagwan. We said the power of Maya is the strongest, in his immediate vicinity. In fact, I call it the inverse square law. Any physics people here? I call it the inverse square law. The further you are away from him, the lower is the power of Maya, which means the closer you get to him, the proportionally, spirally, exponentially, the power of Maya increases. So the danger of not taking him for granted was more true. But if you remember that as long as the power of Maya is there around God, you cannot remove it. That will go only when we accept that Maya is there and we are sadhana, we can release it. Like the Swami says, when you come to an owner to meet some owner in a house who has a bulldog with him, you want to meet the owner, but the bulldog doesn't allow you to meet the owner. What do? You have two options. One thing is, you pray to the owner and tell, "Oh sir, I have come to meet you. Can you please come and hold your dog so that I can come and meet you?" That is bhakti. You pray to God and say, "I am unable to win victory over Maya. Oh Lord, please protect me. Remove this Maya so that I can reach you." God will reach down and remove Maya, so that the wheel of Maya, so that we can reach him. The other one is the karma marga. Karma marga is you get a biscuit and show it to the dog, win it on your side, then it will stop, it won't do anything, then you can go inside and meet the owner. Karma marga is basically through our efforts we can win over Maya. That also is a prescribed method. So when both of these things are done, I think we will reach a stage where we never really take Swami for granted.
Next question is, there's a lot of writing, but I'm just going to summarize it. Sometimes people do fall into the negative talks at the work environment. How can you guide us on how can we meet this challenge not to fall into those negative talks at work?
See, it's kind of more of experiential in nature. Like any amount of description will not work here. But I think as long as we have our goal firmly set on the, if a vision is firmly set on the goal, these distractions really won't matter to us. Remember morning I was speaking, I said one very important thing which Bhagwan has said. Anything that we call as negative or identify as negative, please let us understand that identification was possible by us because that emotion is already there within us. So our sadhana should be to basically, number one, see that when we identify something as negative, that emotion is already there within us. That ability to identify that negativity is there already within us. So we have to first make sure that the sadhana is done to ensure that we get rid of that feeling from us. Number one. Number two, that very wonderful, powerful incident which Bhagwan has said, the entry point itself, anything that our discrimination identifies as negative, if we block it from entering into ourselves, like Swami said, you blame X, Y, Z for speaking negativity about you. When you want peace, those people are trying to destroy the peace with some kind of negativity and all those things. But Swami said, if you open the door and allow them to come in, there's no point in blaming that person, because that person will go away. But the negative emotion that is implanted in us will stay with us till we go to our graves. So therefore, it is very important, once we identify something as negative, we should ensure that it doesn't get implanted into our conscience. Even if it does, our sadhana should be how to get rid of it, how to evict it. How do you basically draw a line and say, make this line smaller without touching it? You just draw a bigger line next to it. So therefore, for every negativity or negative emotion that we have here, there is a solution. We just have to identify it. We can talk to elders, we can talk to more experienced people, what their experiences are. We will get our solution, because these are all instruments which Bhagavan has planted around us. Just like he has planted the power of Maya around us, he has also planted the solution around us. If we are careful enough and we are diligent enough, we will identify them, we will get our own solution. So, if you really ask me, while more learned orators out of their enormous experience in life can give more concrete solutions, that is there. But ultimately accepting a solution and implementing it is each one's own issue. Nobody can impress upon somebody to do this. It should not also.
You have shared quite few experiences, but this is about what is your most cherished memory with Swami?
It will be very long if I tell, okay, Amritam one is better. Yeah. Dasara Yajnam was going on, and there are several memorable experiences. Like I said, see, living with Swami is a lesson in itself, and it's an ongoing journey, it's an ongoing lesson. So when you think that this has to be the most memorable experience, something else happens and you say, Mom, this has overtaken that. So entire life is like that with him. So, and I still have experiences even though his physical form is not there, because I have possibly learned to see Swami in a different plane altogether, even when I was there. So it so happened that Dasara Yajnam was going on, and we were seated there, and the talk went around to Amrutam, Sagara Manthan and Amrutam, nectar. Sagara Manthan we all know, right? The Devas and the Danavas, they churned the ocean. Kurma Avatar was there, and so the talk came around to this Amrutam, nectar. Suddenly Swami asked a very puzzling question to Mr. Shauri and myself. He said, have you people ever tasted Amrutam, nectar? So we were startled. We said, no, Swami. Then Swami said, would you like to taste it? We said, yes, Swami, definitely. Swami waved his hand, and even as liquid was coming out of his hand, that smell was so ethereal. I have never smelled anything so powerful. And it wafted across entire Purnachandra auditorium from top to toe. So much so, that when Dilip came almost 3 hours after that, the first thing he asked was, what is this superb smell? Have you used a new perfume or what? I said, no. Then I told him this story. So he was so thrilled. He said, you're such a lucky soul, Sainath. So anyway, he materialized that liquid and told me, give me your hand. And he poured that entire liquid into my hand. And he said, drink it. I drank it. He said, what you drank just now is Amrutam, nectar, which is the food of gods. I said, wow, that means I'm immortal. I don't have death anymore. And Swami brought me crashing down immediately. He said, Amrutam has only given you a clean slate at this moment. All your past karmas are wiped out. But how you choose to attain liberation and when you choose to attain liberation depends upon your actions from now onwards. That free will is still with you. So then I understood what it means Amrutam actually is. Amrutam is like a booster dose. It will basically ensure that whatever disease is there at this point of time has been wiped out. That doesn't mean that it will protect us from future diseases. Future diseases will keep coming. We need to keep taking booster doses to counter them. All those things will continue. But as of now in the spiritual path, the slate is clean. No past karmas are there with me. So if I wanted at that moment, I could have chosen that I will henceforth do total surrender, attain liberation at the end of this lifetime. But of course, several things happen which prevent us from doing that. Sometimes, in fact, I remember once a question was asked to Swami. There are other individuals who have had this experience of having tasted Amrutam from Swami. In fact, I spoke to one of them because I didn't understand how to take this. I spoke to them and they said only one thing. So my question was to that person, sir, if Amrutam is given and I'm totally clean from the previous life, Sesha Karma and all that, you're alive because your karma is still there. But if my karma is gone, I should have died. Why am I still alive? And he said that Swami told him very wonderfully what happens. Our being alive here is not just because of our karma. Our karma is also linked with the karma of a few others. So they also will be having utility of us because their karma is linked to our existence and our karma also. So it's such a complicated thing, that maybe we just can't understand it. So, but as long as we are alive here, basically others' karma is still linked to us. We have to also decide how we are going to act from henceforth. That is where we are likely to make mistakes, which means accumulation of karma phala again begins. So anyway, this was a very good experience for me because I'm grateful to Bhagwan that at least he gave me an opportunity to wipe my previous slate totally clean with Amrutam. It was one of those memorable experiences I've had.
Anything in specific would you like to share how to deal with life challenges? I'm sure you have answered this question as well, but is there anything in specific you would like to?
You just have to hold on to Swami, that's it.
Yeah.
Not in words. Sometimes we falter. I have had experiences where I've gone through terrible situations in my life. There were times when I also said, Swami, I wasted my entire time with you because, I seem to be suffering my karma so ruthlessly, while you are doing nothing about it. But at the end of the night, when I would go back to sleep, I would still always tell that, Swami, whether I have to shout, whether I have to curse or fight or cry or laugh, it is only with you. What I am doing right now, Swami, is crying out to you for help. How you are perceiving it, Swami, is up to you. But for me, you will remain my only solace. That is a prayer I would always make in the night, and I would go to sleep. In between, what happens is between me and Swami. Right? But as long as I think we have that, he has to do something about it. So not losing the vision and faith in Swami is paramount. Each one has to find our own way of how we plan to achieve that.